Welcome to DT Madness, Chronicles from the Third Life, episode 110, November 3rd, 2024. So glad you could make it. I first need to comment on how I pronounced 110. I don't know where that came from. Really? Probably give it a couple more syllables in my day-to-day talk down here in Cleveland County, USA. 110. I digress too early. Happy time change. Happy fall back, as it were. Extra hour. I hope that you got your extra hour of sleep and are ready for a 5:45 sunset tonight. I was up early. I guess at 5 o'clock, which was 6 o'clock yesterday. I went ahead and got on up and um, did my things, prepared the podcast, and then went for my 4 mile walk that I've been getting on. Saw the sunrise, got some nice pictures. It was good. I love time change. I know a lot of people are not fans of it, but I look forward to this. I think it ought to be a holiday time change. I hope we keep doing it. I know it's tricky with little ones, but we don't have little ones anymore, so um, not so bad. I read an article this morning as I was scanning my morning news stories, and one in the Wall Street Journal that I couldn't read the entire article because I don't have a paid subscription, but the gist of the article is that some researchers, I think in Switzerland, have developed spray-on shoes, and that within the next 3 years we could be doing spray-on shoes, and they didn't have one single mention of Flint Lockwood. And I just thought, man, that's in my AP seminar class we would call that out for plagiarism. I hope you've seen Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and if you have, then you know that Flint Lockwood had already come up with spray-on shoes. Speaking of shoes, I have been wearing my new. I'm a Mizuno guy. I don't know how it happened. I ordered some from Amazon several years ago. I'm on fifth or sixth pair now, maybe more. And so when mine run out of steam and tread and all that kind of stuff, I just ordered the same pair, Mizuno Wave Runners or Wave Riders. I've gotten both. And this year they were kind of light gray. And I mentioned last week that I was told that they eat, and I mean they do. And that being said, like I had a decision to make. Like, what am I gonna do on these walks that I'm taking? Um, because in the for the most part, I'm on concrete, I'm on asphalt, and not walking through the grass. But I know that there's dust out there. It hadn't rained in a long time. There's a bunch of dust and acorn dust and all that kind of stuff. And I don't want to get my shoes all dirty so early on. But if I wear my old ones are worn out. They don't have as much support. I was starting to get a little blister on the back where they got a little hole in the heel. Um, and, I got these new ones. So what do I do? And I was asking my students, I like to involve them in my life decisions to get them to see how my mind works. But eventually I did decide to go with the new ones, but my choice was that I was just going to walk the extra long way so that I didn't have to go through the grass at all. I essentially walk, for those of you who are familiar with Boiling Springs in the Gardner Webb area, I just walk around from my neighborhood all the way around Gardner Webb and then back, and it's just shy of 4 miles. Takes me about 50 minutes. But that day it took me about an hour because I didn't go the way up past what was used to be GT's. And so yeah, man, that was it was an extra long walk, but it was cool. I got to see an old friend, and whose kid I have now in my class, whose kid has grown up with mine. Um, we were a part of the Broad River Church together for a little while, and things went south as I've mentioned in previous episodes, and so a lot of those relationships are in disrepair. And but it was cool to see him, and I got to tell him about how great his kid is, and his kid is thinking about playing tennis, and we just had a good conversation, man. It was nice to walk away from that and try to shake off perceptions, both mine and um, maybe in my own mind, those that other people have of me. And again, maybe I've made all that stuff up, but it was cool, man. And then I on the way back, I got to see this man named, I don't know how he pronounces it, Yuan. Um, Definitely an older Asian man, and he was walking in my neighborhood, and he had a post office slip. They had tried to deliver a package but couldn't reach him, and so now he had this slip that was telling him where to pick it up, and he was asking me to help him read it, and that was just pretty cool, man. That was just pretty cool. I can't really describe that to you. Um, the past, anyway, I'm glad I chose the new shoes, and they've definitely been working out, and I'm back into the walking game, and trying to trying to do right. So, um, but yeah, this past week was Spirit Week. We had our county rivalry game, football game, and so we had Spirit Week leading up to a pep rally on Friday. I took Friday off, but anyway, um, and so what? Monday was pajama day, standard. A whole bunch of our kids wear pajamas now anyway. Um, Real classy, but that's their style. So that kind of just was easy to do. Tuesday was Rhyme Without Reason Day, and Wednesday was Pink Day, so I wore my pink shirt. Thursday was Minions Day. I just wore my jeans and my yellow Tribe Called Quest, Charlie Brown, Can I Kick It? Yes, You Can shirt. But Tuesday was Rhyme Without Reason, and so for example, last year one kid dressed up as a traffic cone and the other one dressed up as Post Malone. And so you had a traffic cone and Post Malone. Those things rhyme without any reason. I didn't have anybody to dress up with, and so I just went with my own inner rhyme. And I carried around a LaCroix orange water because that's my style. And I said that I had a little bit of fizz with my Riz. And I got a lot of SMHs. I got a lot of head shakes from the kids, although I know they secretly liked it. Sydney got her Furman application submitted, and I have. Oh my gosh, dude! I don't know if you got seniors or if you've had seniors or you're gonna have seniors at some point, but dang, get ready to fill out the paperwork. I mean, you better have all your documents and everything on hand, from like every minute detail of your financial history. We didn't have to do that with Sam, I guess, for App State, but with these private schools, Furman and Yale and Duke, Campbell doesn't require it. But yeah, the CSS profile and this thing, and it costs you $53 to send this and $46 to send that, and this is me asking them for money. So hopefully there'll be an ROI on these dollars I'm spending out. But she got her Furman app in. Next Saturday, we will go to Furman for the day. She gets to talk with the professors in the department, and then they got us football tickets. It's going to be a crazy day because that evening is Sam's acapella Geddon, which is where the acapella groups from App State all compete. And Sam's group finished second last year. They won it the previous year. And either way, he's got a solo for a song called Lonely, I think. Noah Cyrus. Did you know that Miley Cyrus had a sister? And it's a real sad song, just like Sam usually sings. But he'll get to belt it out, and he will definitely eat or cook, whichever way you want to try to describe it. I filled out the online eye doctor appointment thing. I didn't call them, but I did put in the request, and I didn't get a reply back yet. So I think maybe that's a sign. Although, as I was walking this morning, and I saw somebody way ahead of me, and they were pretty blurry. I guess that's a sign too. So working on going to the eye doc and okay. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I I talked last week about I talked last week about the stuff I'm for in politics, and so this rest of this episode is not going to be political. The rest of it isn't. But I did want to start with a little bit more like specifically of what I'm for. Like if I were to run for office, I know I'd have to get more specific on things like immigration or abortion policy or taxes or things like that. And I suppose I could if I was asked to. I don't have to, not as mayor. And so these are the things I'm for. I'm for public schools. They're the centers of our community and community life. Um, we provide avenues for academic achievers. We provide support for those who struggle in that arena. We provide a place where students of different backgrounds can come together to learn about life and service and involvement. Their career pathways and sports and arts and social webs of support, they're all provided and nurtured. Staff and teachers and administrators who live in the community and know your students by name work to make a difference each and every day, not for fame or fortune, but because they believe in goodness and potential of our young people. Two, I'm for legislative power, and I'm with the founders on this one. The power in the Constitution belongs to the legislature, the representatives of the people. It's established in the first article, and the Congress is given power to manage the government over and above the executive. This is laid out in the power to override a veto and in the ability to impeach and remove a president. The executive is important, of course. Hamilton lays this out in Fed number 70. But I personally would like to see the legislative branch regain its rightful position in the system of checks and balances and stop being so willing to cede its power to the presidency. And maybe a lot of it all comes down to number three, which I believe in diminished political party influence. George Washington warned us early on about the dangers of political parties in his farewell address. Through such things as gerrymandering, the primary system, selective exposure where we only watch media that already confirms what we believe, algorithms on social media, the power of the two major political parties has grown beyond its rightful place. Party dictates. Political party allegiance threatens to outweigh allegiance to country if it hasn't already, and creates a chasm between citizens that is increasingly difficult to cross. We rarely consider the person running for office anymore, only which letter is beside their names. And though party does a service to provide platforms and frameworks for an agenda to pursue, I fully believe that most Americans cannot be contained within a simple label of R or D. The issues are too complex and deserve thoughtful, passionate, and reasonable debate, which, dare I say, may end in compromise to move the ball forward. Number four, I believe in women. I believe that half our population should have the same freedom to make decisions about their futures and dreams, just like I do. And number five, I believe in civil discourse. Enough with the yelling and ridiculous name calling. Enough with the one-upsmanship so you can get noticed on social media. Enough with turning complex issues that require serious thought and discussion into memes in order to dehumanize and simplify. Again, see number three about political party influence. We can disagree, and we can do so with passion and conviction. But at the end of the day, let us find that which we have in common to be more powerful than that which divides us. So this is called Good Time, and this is typically where we have our tea with Mara. I usually let the song go that long, though. It gets a little zazzy there at the end. Oh man, it's been a lot. I don't know. How much does it weigh? 40 years. How much does it weigh? Does time have volume? Um, when I ask my 15-year-old that, his head begins to spin because he thinks about stuff like that quite a bit. But the weight of 40 years is it's a real thing, and there are ways to deflate the weight. I don't know. I'm not really a poet. I'm more of a prose guy. Um, Prosaic poet maybe. But I'm working on one. I'm working on a poem from how I felt this weight, how this weight comes back, once in a while, and how I can say things, but what do those things mean to you, And you can't fully grasp my words and the weight of them, as I recognize is reciprocal. I can't do that for you either. Um, I've been feeling too a little. I don't know if claustrophobic is the right word, and I don't know what all the things are adding in. I'm sure that underlying all of this is some type of fear and anxiety that I have about this election season, which I hope is settled Tuesday, but realistically could go on for months and months. Um, this this situation that I find myself in now of always being needed or known of, if that's a phrase, like I tried to take the day off on Friday. I wanted to. I thought about just going to the mountains and completely disappearing. I ended up going and getting a massage, which was pretty sweet. I like that trade better. Um, but during that day off, I would get messages about a culvert that is in disrepair, or they put this culvert in and now it's flooding my property, and what are you gonna do about it? And why are the charger flags not up? And hey, can you announce this tonight at the football game? And where can this fence go? And is it okay if my neighbor does this? And so many emails from school, which I know I don't have to answer, but when they pop up, I'm neurotic and I don't like to let the little red one stay there. I don't like notification numbers up there, so that one still, and even things like Life 360, which or the fact that my phone can be tracked everywhere I go, and so I can never really get lost, which I'm glad about. And I like to see the notifications pop up that one of my kids is home and they got home, and I don't stay up watching. I don't turn it on and find out where they're going, but I do like to know when they get home, and that's easier than them having to remember to send me a text or call or whatever. um, but man, like, people knowing where I am all the time and always reaching out to me. Whew, that got heavy too. Like that got a part of the weight as well. Um, I tried to remember, like, when we would get lost. I don't know if you guys know the songs by Acoustic Syndicate, but there's one called Sailor Suit, and it sings about, like, when we were kids, how we would just get lost for hours and hours and hours. And I remember times when, my parents would be mad because they couldn't find me. But those are real things. Like, we could wander off into Sandy Run Creek and just be down there catching crawdads and skipping rocks and, like, saving the world from, the Autobots or whatever, or the bad guys are Autobots bad. And that isn't a thing now. Like, and there's a whole bunch of positives to it. I don't mean to say that there aren't. And on it, like, I love being able to tell somebody that I'm thinking good things about them. And I like to be able to do that right away. And I appreciate that instant communication. And I like people being able to call, and, if they got lost in a parking lot at Crowder's Mountain, I appreciate all that. I like the stories. I like seeing your stories on Instagram. I do. I like finding out, I like to see you surfing, and I like to find out what food you're making, and, where you're traveling to now, and, what your kids dressed up for is Halloween and all that. Man, it was, and it's what I signed up for. It's what I signed up for. And in terms of being mayor, in terms of leadership positions, I know that. And so I'm really just whining here, really just releasing. And the thing is that I'm recognized about myself is that I prefer that most of the time. Most of the time, I prefer being the person that can answer your questions, that can lead you to the answer, that can lead you to resolution of what problem you have. I love that. I love it. I love being the guy. I do. Um, but it was just part like this, a lot of this swirling stuff around. I will say that I did find something that made it a little bit better, and that is the Autumn Harvest Latte. I'm a black coffee guy. It's the way I prefer it. I like bitterness, I do. But I went and got this Autumn Harvest Latte because I was feeling, I don't know, spontaneous, I guess. And man, it was good. Well, I had started this new routine, where I was eating these pita pockets with chicken and spinach and and what do you call it, feta and jalapenos and stuff, and then like eating that for lunch and then having my cachava afterward and like really going and walking and trying to balance out my diet and all this kind of stuff. And so then I would go in the afternoon and drink this Harvest Latte, but not eat full ice cream, eating these not nasty, but fake ice cream bars in the evening, trying to get my calories back on track. But anyway, man, the latte is really good. You put milk and coffee, it turns out it's really tasty. And you add some caramel and like some vanilla and some whatever pumpkin type stuff. Yeah, that's good. Um, and I went back down to the river, and I'm not able to get to the places that I normally go because the place is still wrecked from Helene, and they're working to clean all that stuff up. But I'd found some places to go and sit and just hear the water. My dad always told me that you could hear the sound of the law in running water, and it's real. It's real. And I had this one turtle that never jumped off, and that turtle is definitely a part of my pole. The other ones fell right off their log, but this guy was like, "You're good, man." And he just sat there sunning. I mean, like 3 feet away from me. And so the river is a good thing. And you know what? I saw this post from one of my friends about, oh man, it was about like a Walden Books and smelling the cinnamon and the smells and all this kind of stuff. And from a long time ago. And it took me back to the Cleveland Mall because there was a Walden Books there and I can smell it now, really. And there was this place called the Big Cookie. There was this ramp in the Cleveland Mall that had a fountain around it, and we would throw our pennies in there. Um, Not the Big Cookie, that was Hardee's, but this cookie place did have like the best chocolate chip cookies of all time. There was the arcade there, Diamond Gym, where I had the high score on this game called Turbo, a driving game. And Belk has always been there, and Belk has always smelled like that. But I got to thinking about place, and I'm going to continue to think about place because certainly the Cleveland Mall in my early days is an example of what I mean, like that, a place that created these formative memories. These I don't know. Um, this other place called the Field of Dreams for me in my mind, which was kind of my backyard where my dad had built a wooden basketball goal, and then it came down, and so we put up a new basketball goal, and then turned the wooden one upside down and painted a strike zone on it, and then we used that as home plate and a backstop for wiffle ball, and we would play dirt basketball out in the backyard with all kinds of different people from the neighborhood. And they would wander up through those bushes and play with whatever was out there, and me and my friend would just have the greatest times. And then we would wander up into the field near the garden and play tag football and tackle football and cut ball and wiffle ball and any other types of superhero type stuff. And that place was really formative to me. But that's a place that's um, it's decreasingly blocked off from the good part of my memory. That part has been shoved deep away from me. The term childhood trauma sounds cliche, doesn't it? Trauma is kind of cliche now. Is it? Is that a response I have? Um, but I'm working on recovering these senses of place, this sense of time, and trying to understand how much 40 years weighs. And I put it at 40 because I don't remember a whole bunch before six. Of course, I'm almost 47. David Foster Wallace, I saw a quote. I think it was the Quoting Literature Instagram that that I saw these on, and the quote was something like, "How odd that I can have all of this inside me, and to you it's just words." And I think that's important for me to remember, that when I say things, you can't you can't capture it all. You don't know what my experience is. This is where my daughter would come in and say that empathy isn't real because I cannot fully feel the way that you feel. How odd it is that I have all this inside me, and to you it's just words. And I want to recognize that from my end as well. Because of that, I picked up, I'd never read anything by David Foster Wallace, and so I looked up some books of his, and this book called Infinite Jest was in some list of the most important books of the century. And so I picked it up. It's definitely some postmodern type style. I don't know where it's going. I don't have any idea. I'm probably 60 pages in of 900. Um, it has it has endnotes at the it has that aren't like, but it's fiction, so it's just that the postmodern, it's a style thing. And also, yeah, I don't know what the writing is. I like it though. I do, and I'll keep going back to it, and I'm excited to read it, and then maybe continue on with David Foster Wallace for a little bit. I had this thought the other day. Oh man, I was at Barley's, and just gonna ramble a little bit more, but I'm almost done. I was at Barley's getting, I don't know, pizza, I think, and there were these guys behind me. They were talking about their video games and their goals in life, and they were just laughing, getting louder. And the the bartender brought them some Guinness, a couple Guinness over, and it was just like early stages of the pour. If you've ever seen a Guinness poured, then you know that it's real foamy and light brown, and that it filters its way up, and it gets darker and darker as it filters up, and it's just really creamy, for a beer. And I was like, oh man, that looks really good. And I've been having these thoughts a little bit, like, because I haven't had a drink in almost 4 years, be 4 years this New Year's Eve. And I was like, man, that's the first time I've really gotten close to, like, let me just taste that thing. And so I began to have this conversation with myself, like, okay, well, you could do it. You could just have a couple a week, two, no more than two, no more than two a day ever. And then you can also be committed to this lifestyle of fitness, of better diet, of discipline, and then I was like, committed. What am I even committed to? And can I be committed to that? Because like when I get a vanilla milkshake from Chick-fil-A, I can't, like, I eat, I suck it down all of, like, I don't stop. I don't, I mean, I'm savoring it, but I'm done in like 2, 3 minutes because it's just so good. And so I kind of laugh at myself about what I could be committed to. I guess at least in terms of these sensory experiences, like having a Guinness or whatever. But that all that led to really the idea of belief, and what does believe mean. And I've been looking up the etymology of that word, and of course I will tell you in just a minute. Don't forget to believe, y'all, and be live. And so I thought about, like, well, what is it? What do I believe in? And then you could add all the different prepositions to that, believing with and for, um, whatever. This is the way my mind tends to work as I flesh out thoughts. But what do you believe in? And I think about, like, what are the things that we say, like some of the phrases. Do you believe in ghosts, in Santa Claus? If you've watched Nacho Libre, then it's kind of um, uh, like, do you believe in science? Why do you judge me because I just believe in science? Um, you know, Obviously God. Um, believe in, Do you believe your team is going to win? We believe. Do you believe in the system? Do you believe in government? Like what do you believe in? Where is your belief? Where does it lie? And those are things I'm asking myself. Huh. Um, I had this other thought, and I will end it with this, but or with this theme that this election I think is the natural outcome of postmodernism. I realize I miss college. I miss having college students around who are in literary classes, who are in, philosophy classes, um, social sciences, theology, things like that. So that because I like these conversations. And I don't, my good friend at work who we used to have these conversations retired. And I haven't found that new conversation partner yet to talk about things like this, like postmodernism, essentially, the deconstruction of systems and institutions, rightfully so, in many cases, if not all cases. Certainly, postmodernism wouldn't like to use the word all, would it? But I think like we have this sense of what can you even believe anymore, and we've driven down that road so far that now it's easy for a candidate to say, look, see what's happening. And our education system has lost credibility as well. It's been deconstructed as well. And knowledge itself, like what can you even know, these types of things, so that you can have a candidate who throws this stuff around and just it doesn't matter if it's true or not. Like kind of in this, I think the phrase has been used, the post-truth era. And yet the candidate cloaks it in modernism, which I think is brilliant on his part because and I don't know if he I don't know how he thinks. I don't know how he thinks, but so many people are feeling lost. So many people have this sense of I don't know where to go if I can't hold on to my belief, my firm belief in the institutions of religion, medicine, uh, even science. I mean, literature, the the the, the police, government, whatever, like fill in the blank. And all of those institutions are eroding because of the deconstruction of them, because holes have been poked. Like it just, if you say something's true, then we got to look at it from your viewpoint, and maybe my viewpoint is different, my vantage point. And so um, this idea that we're losing this way of life is real because we are losing this way of life. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think that we will move into a deeper understanding, but many people don't sense that. And so this candidate comes around using postmodernist, I mean, almost like it's what is it called? Solipsism, like there's where nothing means anything and everything is meaningless, and throws all these things around, but cloaks it in make it better again. Like let's go back to when we really could hold firm to all of these things. Oh man, and I just want to talk about that with people. I just want to flesh that out. Anna Colmar, where you at? Come sit on my deck, or by the fire. All that to say, I think I'm done with screens in class. In fact, I might play the Beastie Boys No Sleep Till darn out. But no screens till Christmas. I I think technology can be useful. Maybe I'm just not equipped to do it right. That's really just a big distraction. So I'm gonna have to go back to what my strengths are, which is telling stories and explaining things, not just straight talking. I'll have the kids doing some stuff, but one of the things I want to do in my AP seminar class is kind of trace the Enlightenment, modernist thought, postmodernist thought, and then their whole thing is doing research and peer reviewed journals, and so we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And I'm also going to flesh out how the election's going to work. Not far, only about 5 weeks away from the end of the semester, anyway. Um, So yeah, I've talked with some of my colleagues about the election. The latest big story, I guess, is that there's a poll from Iowa that has Harris leading. Of course, there's another poll that has her down by 11 points. So who knows? My prediction is that Harris will eke out an electoral college victory. I think that she will hold Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, and that she will also carry North Carolina. I anticipate an outpouring of women voters that will help carry North Carolina, in part because Mark Robinson is such a weak candidate, and I think the Democrat enthusiasm will be higher. Now, hopefully, all of it is quickly settled, and that we don't have to go through the steps of certification like we did in 2020. Although I will say, if you care about things like this, they did do an Electoral College Reform Act in 22, and so the things that happened in 2020 are not as easily come by. But I do predict a Harris Electoral College victory, and we'll see how it goes. Well, this has been a Church of Six production, brought to you by the Bucket of Life, the Rope of Relationship, the Foundation Tower of Stone, the Wall of Belief, the Token of Hope, and the Magic Rock times one. One received and one given. Nothing divine is desperate, and in order to be, try to never seen. May all your circumstances serve to awaken compassion, and as you go, teach peace. Don't forget to believe, y'all, and let me know. And be live. Grace and peace, my friends.